All right, everyone. Thank you so much for voting. We're going to go ahead and go through the answer. We'll also go through why I picked these two throwers and why this was kind of a hard task, difficult for you guys. So, first off, about 70% of the people got it incorrect, and about 30% of the people got it correct. So, the thrower on the left is the top 102-mile-an-hour thrower. That's actually, there were a bunch of different names that were thrown out for who that could possibly be. That is Joe Boyle. He's a minor leaguer with the Reds. And the thrower on the right is the top 96. He's in college and can't say his name for a few different NCAA compliance reasons. So now, why was this difficult? So I picked these two throwers because both of them have very slow center of gravity angular velocity into foot plant. So what does that mean? It means the amount of momentum that they create down the mound is pretty low compared to other throwers. Now, after that, once they get into foot plant, both of them, their pelvis is open. Both of them create more hip and shoulder separation after the impulse from the block, and both of them have a great kinematic sequence of the pelvis rotating, the torso rotating, the elbow extending, and then the shoulder internally rotating. So from a biomechanical perspective, these guys are very similar. They go pretty slowly into foot plant, get to foot plant in the right positions. The pelvis rotates, the torso rotates, the elbow extends, and the arm internally rotates. So from a biomechanical perspective, they're really similar. So it's pretty hard to tell the difference. Now, I saw a lot of comments, a few about the difference in the angle of the back leg. So, for example, the thrower on the right has a more externally rotated back leg. The thrower on the left has a more neutral back leg. This is not necessarily a good or a bad thing. It's just a thing that is. So there were a few comments that said, oh, well, it's very easy to tell the thrower who has the most externally rotated back leg is the one who creates more ground force. And that's not necessarily true. It could be true. It also could be false. So it's really only one piece of the puzzle, not really indicative of a whole lot other than just what range of motion the thrower can actually move through. There was another thing that came up a lot in the comments, which was the thrower on the right pulls their torso to the glove side more than the thrower on the left. Now, there were some comments that said that's either good or bad for velocity, and it's really neither. It's pretty neutral, so neutral for velocity. So just because you pull your torso doesn't mean you're going to throw harder, doesn't mean you're going to throw slower. Just because your torso is more neutral doesn't mean you're going to throw harder, doesn't mean you're going to throw slower. Neither one is healthier or less healthy. It's just an individual thing that some guys pull their torso and some guys don't. So just wanted to clear those two things up. Position of the back leg. It's a pretty hot topic these days in terms of being externally rotated, neutral, or internally rotated. That really doesn't matter. And then how much the torso is being pulled, that's not going to make you throw harder or slower in itself. And it's also not going to increase or decrease risk of arm injury, which is another thing that was said on there. So neither of those things are actually things. But appreciate you guys voting. I know this is fun. We'll be doing more of these. We're going to get a little more extreme with our throwers and see if you guys can pick out the throwers who are just drastically different in velocity. It's obviously pretty hard with guys who are really close in velocity. But thank you guys for participating.